All right. So I finished 30 minutes of cardio, 15 minutes in the sauna. I was sweating pretty good. And then, of course, I switched clothes. And now it's been brought to my attention, obviously by myself since I made the post, that you have some questions. And so I've got a couple of answers here for you. So starting from first one there, it's in no order. I wanted to say, make them kind of varied, but I guess it's almost always going to be fitness related. There's no way to get around it. But there's a couple good ones in here. There's a few that are kind of funny. So, question number one, Iron Monk, or just Iron Monkey, whatever. Have you watched that Meat Canyon video about you? Have I seen that yet? Yeah, I saw that on day one. Somebody made I was sitting in front of my computer once, and they just clipped that as though it was a reaction. But I did see that, and I've been watching the Meat Canyon stuff. I mean, as much as anybody. Like all those videos get like 3 or 4 million views. Like I remember I was watching the which one? It was like the Taylor Swift one and the DaBaby one. Like I'd basically seen at least a good chunk of them before. So that first he made this Twitter poll when it was like, "What should I do?" And it had my name as one of the choices. So no, I saw that. That was pretty freaking funny. What do you think about Andrei Smaev? Andrei Smaev. I think he's a goddamn freak. We just got a little bit of a more recent look at him with that one Larry Wheels video. I mean, the guy's insane. Like even just looking at him standing, if he was sitting next to me, I'd look like somebody's little freaking brother. It's nuts. And like arm wise, just totally crazy. Like if he did a proper diet and let's imagine he held on to all the muscle he's got now, it would look insane. Like it would look freaking crazy. Not to mention just the regular feats of strength, like 500 pounds for reps. No, he's pretty crazy. But then now it's kind of nice too, because in that Larry video, Larry's like, why don't you like traveling, man? Why aren't you all over the States, like doing videos with everybody else? And the gist of what he was saying was like, well, I miss being home, man. I just want to stay here, do my training, and just be happy. I'm like, well, that was just freaking sweet. So he's got it mind and body. But yeah, he's a total freaking beast, that's for sure. How to increase bench. 235 for 6 right now. Wanting to get 315 by December 1st. So that's close. That's only December 31st. So that's a month and a half. So I'd have to it'll take look up on a strength. Well, now I just have to do it. I already kind of told myself I was about to. So let me look up strength calculator. I mean, I'm sure I could guess what this guy's 1 rep max would be. And honestly, he should just have said that in the comment. So let's assume, I don't know, 17, 180. Doesn't really matter. Lift, bench press, 235 for 6. Calculate strength. I don't know what his body weight really is, but it says your estimated 1 rep max to be 273. So from 235 for 6 being your max, that would mean your 1 rep max should be around that 270 mark. That website's not always totally correct, but it's about right. Like it kind of plugs in, like it's based off of all sorts of just actual guys' number statistics where they say my 1 rep max is 315. I can do 250 for 8 or something like that. And then it kind of just conglomerates it into a spread. But if you're at 280 and you want to hit 315, I'm not necessarily the person to come to for strength advices. But if that were me, and I mean, that was me. I remember, so I don't remember the first time I did it, but I remember trying to work up to a 315-pound bench. I just started my workout with a really heavy powerlifter-ish set. So if it was chest day, instead of like, okay, I want to do, incline dumbbell for 20 or machine press or flies, I would just warm up, like really warm up a little bit more thorough and start with just flat bench. I was flat benching at the time. And instead of like a normal higher volume set, 8, 10, 12 reps, something like that, do like the most I could do for 4 or the most I could do for 5. So instead of just like making the set difficult from reps, more so just kind of training yourself to push heavier and heavier weights. So next chest day, I'd say warm up, pick a weight that is pretty heavy, so maybe try 250 instead of that 235, and get amped, like get really seriously excited. Go for as many as you can. Maybe have the guy give you like one partial or one assisted rep at the end. Maybe you get 4, and then go about your workout as normal. Like do higher rep sets. Go, obviously effort should be a balanced, or not balanced, but kind of continuous aspect throughout all the other sets, whether they're more volume or lower volume focused. And then just repeat. I'm not walking around with a training log because I feel like if I come into the gym and then on a, any given set, I warm up and I pick a weight that's heavy enough that I'm like, that's about right, and then I bring it, well, if my recovery's in order, I'm going to come home, eat my food, rest, sleep, have another few lifts, and then come back for the next lift. Over time, applying that just like effort of making sure every set that you do, you really bring it, you just will get stronger over time, So it's more so increasing weight out of necessity. You're creating the need for heavier weights because if I really killed on a set of incline dumbbell, go home, have whatever adaptations happen, maybe some, obviously a little bit of muscle growth, neural, freaking whatever. I'm going to come back and I'll be just a little bit stronger. So if I'm a little stronger, I want to pick a little bit of a heavier weight, if you feel me. But the main point there is obviously bring it, right? Whether it's a regular working set or like a low rep, like triple or a quadruple, whatever, just really bring it. Don't just pretend like, oh, that was 4 and rack it like I can do one more. Like, I don't think anybody's making any substantial strength or size gains if they're kidding themselves with how hard they go. Like, it should be, I wish I could have got one more. My freaking pecs just wouldn't move, and you're almost like upset that you're not even capable of going harder, right? Because if you pull the brakes early, if you pull your chute too early, it's just not going to work, man. I could sit here and do a chest day where I only did 5 reps, racked it. If I could have done 20, honestly, that 5 didn't really do anything because it's well within my capability, It's those last few reps, I think, which really count because that's where you're bringing it. That's where the set is testing you, if you kind of get what I'm saying there. So this is a little bit of a double question. Donovan Phillips asks, how to combat body dysmorphia while trying to be honest about your progress and results. So that's a really good question because obviously, you need to balance like a little bit of an emotional aspect of like, okay, I feel like I want to improve, but not just like totally hate on yourself and put yourself down and like come into the gym thinking I look like shit, put your hoodie on, never pose down and leave, because that sucks, So the way that I look at a lot of situations now, in terms of like opinion or like mental approach, it's very easy to see where the answer lies if you go to 2 extremes. If you want no body dysmorphia, well, if you could go into your mind and rewire some circuits and make it so that you don't even care how you look, well, then you're good. That's this side. You really just in your mind, you don't give a shit. You'll never have any feeling of body dysmorphia because you just don't care. Now that's like an extreme. Nobody thinks like that. Well, that's not cool, right? And then on the other side would be like, okay, I'm not going to be happy with myself unless I look like Chris Bumstead in the mirror. And anything short of that, I'm putting my hoodie on. I'm never taking my freaking shirt off again in public. Right? One side of the spectrum sucks, and then the other side really sucks. So where's the answer, right? It's somewhere in between. So you've got to just be able to, and half of this is progress is going to help. The more you work out, the more gains you're going to see, the more progress you can actually like look back at it in pictures and say, holy shit, I am a little bigger than 6 months ago, or I'm way leaner than 2 years ago. That puts it into perspective, I feel. Like I can go back and look at myself in 2020 and I can say, whoa, yeah, holy shit. But it's, I think a good tip is just, don't catch yourself, just putting yourself down. So if you've got a thought where it's like, fuck, I'm a little bit softer. Like I got that after my because I didn't reverse diet after the Arnold. I just started eating a bunch of shit, and if it took 4 months to lose the body fat, I put it all back on in like a month, or maybe not 4 months, but like 2 months to really get extra lean, and I undid it in like a month because I didn't really slow down. I just went straight to an off season. So I had some thought of like, man, shit, I got some body fat on me. Right? It's not for no reason. Look at the situation. Why did that happen? Well, I was eating a bunch of crazy food. That would make sense. That's just how it is. So if you come into the gym and you say, oh, fuck, man, I'm freaking 260. I used to be 200 in college. Just, don't look at it as a problem in terms of like, oh my God, I've got a problem. Like, focus on the fact that you've got something that you want to solve. It's like, all right, shit, okay, if I want to lose this, what do I have to do? How can you break down a problem into a more manageable situation? You look at the things that you can do to actually solve it, and just don't let yourself get overwhelmed. So, okay, well, if I start doing my cardio and, I can probably stop going to Crumble so much and eating canes, and maybe I should start cooking ground beef again like I used to. And then you get in the flow of things, shit's going to start happening. And then, once you do start making the progress that you want, well, then it's just going to make you, well, you'll just start to value the whole situation a little bit more, I feel. So the second part of this one is how to balance trying to hit the gym and make progress when your schedule is packed. So you can do it. You can do it. It gets don't act like we've got to be in the gym for 3 hours a day or for 4 hours. You've got to, I mean, I say too, I'm like, all right, I want to do cardio in the morning and then do a separate session at night and come back. Nah, man. It's not that deep. I think you can make substantial progress if you have a normal diet. Like, you don't need to be, you're going to have some like willpower to not eat shit out of the vending machine. Maybe pack a meal, maybe look up like a meal company. I'm looking for a meal prep company right now. But I've got to find one that I actually really like. But I mean, that helps. It's good to have that kind of stuff prepped and just ready. Pack a lunch, don't just go out to eat, that sort of stuff. And the workout, I mean, if you're quick, I don't think it takes that long. I can really, if you told me like, all right, Sam, 30-minute timer, get a chest pump. And if you're not pumped by the end of it, done. I could do it, right? I want to, bring it. Like, I've got to focus for those 30 minutes. I wouldn't have time to just like sit and chat around. But if you're really in a rush, well, just treat the workout like that. Don't rest as long, or at least don't waste time as much and sip of water and just kind of meander. Like, oh, I got to wait for the Smith machine. Okay, I'll just sit here for 30 minutes and wait for this guy to be done. Like, just pick something else, keep that momentum up, and then, shit, man, you can finish a lift in half an hour. I feel like that is rushing a little bit, but if that's the nature of your schedule, well, then guess what? You're going to feel way better knowing that you did it rather than that you skipped it. Because, I mean, you really got two options. It's like, should I surrender from the fact that I'm really busy? Or should I overcome it and still do it? And then you get a little bit of a, like what I'd kind of call like a chip on your shoulder, pride in your own mind. Because it's like, how many people have a busy schedule and they just write off the idea that they'll ever work out? Because they're like, oh man, I'm too busy for that. That's just not my thing. Excuse city, right? So I guess that's your own inner battle to deal with. Rishab.B9165. Would you ever consider watching One Piece? Yeah, I considered it 10 years ago, or however many years ago it was that I started watching it. Yeah, I'm all caught up. Once you've got caught up, you kind of see what happens from like shorts. The episodes are only like 10 minutes of actually they're really only like 7 minutes of actual story. So yeah, I'm all caught up. I know what's going on. And if a child, now this is the real question, if a child doesn't exercise, is it their parents' fault? Yeah, that's pretty upsetting, because it's not like, and I'm not trying to put anyone down here specifically, but if you're giving your kid like complete total trash, And sure. Well, Sam, what are you talking about? You're eating cinnamon. Look, man, I give myself some treats here and again, but at least when I was a kid, I had it pretty good. Where I'd just be scrapping. I wasn't eating any kind of like direct protein based meals until I got older and learned about working out. Like I'd make a bunch of turkey sandwiches for myself, but I'd be eating pretty. It's not like I was only fed like all natural organic food, because those parents are insufferable too. Like they're telling their kid like, oh, if you eat red 40, it's gonna kill you. Like same thing. There's like two sides of the spectrum. You know, one, you're raising your kid like you just don't care, and then the other, you're like raising them like as though you're in a cult and they have to be like indoctrinated into it. I mean, you'll see a video of this, like a mom with her kid, and the kid's walking out of grocery aisle, like she's making content out of it. Like, hey, would you ever eat this? And then the kid picks up like cinnamon toast crunch. No, they're trying to, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, it's not the kid's responsibility. He's not buying his own food. So yeah, I think so. But there's a lot of angles to that question. But yeah, I would definitely like to see a more athletic youth, if you kind of catch me. I always reference I don't know if it was Michelle Obama specifically, but the 1 hour of play. Like I remember when I was younger, I'd always see on Cartoon Network, they'd pause. Like it'd be a long commercial. It's like, did you get your 1 hour of play today? You didn't? And it's like hyping up being active. Like, I feel like gym class it's like a joke now. Like it doesn't even happen. I wasn't there for like the early 2000s, like mandatory dodgeball or anything. But yeah, I mean, I think you're setting yourself up for success, or you're being set up a little more for success, at least in like a physical way, if you're a little more active as a youngin. So I guess that's the main point I'm saying, right? Give your kid a trampoline. Don't let him like break his arm or anything, but yeah, just send him outside. Chief Executive Onion. What was Sam's childhood dreams? Astronaut, scientist, police officer? Not exactly. Not exactly. Let me look something up. Let me see if I can find this video. Because when I was like 10 or like 8 or something, this was the coolest shit ever. I don't think I'll ever be able to find it. Yeah, there's no way. I don't know, but it was yeah, that's way back. But I remember I was watching YouTube videos. There's this one badass montage of like a professional scooter rider. Like they got the helmet on, they got the like $600 scooter because it's like custom made with like aluminum and magnesium, and they're doing like double backflips and tail whips. Even watching the video now still kind of gets me amped up because it's still just guys who are super good at what they do. But yeah, if you told me what I wanted to do, being like a professional scooter rider would have been the shit. I never even learned how to do a tail whip, but that was like in my mind. If I could make that happen when I was like 10, that would have been insane. Yeah, but you didn't expect that, did you? Gabe9178. What's the all-time most calories you think you've eaten in one day? It's probably in the tens. It's probably like a 10,000 ish. I don't remember when. Like it wasn't a specific day, and it wasn't like a challenge either. This was just. I think it was like it's always day one once I stopped dieting. At least a while ago, not as much now. But like, okay, diet's over, time to bulk. And then when you're dieted, you're flat, like you're depleted. You've got across your entire body, every cell has little like storage containers or vacuoles for fuel, right? Sugar water, muscular glycogen. Same thing as you got fat cells, right? That's going to store fat. So if you were really depleted for a while, well, now all of those little containers they're empty, so they're ready to be filled. So if I just finished this diet. I don't remember what day it was, and I just kept eating everything. I got a bunch of like, I remember I'd always get like trolley sour gummy worms by like a 5 pound bag. I don't know how many of those have been eaten in a single day. I wouldn't bust that out now. It always messes with my stomach because like the acidity of the powder or whatever. But yeah, just like if you just keep eating, it adds up to 10,000 pretty quick. Next time I do it, I'll actually try to bring you along. Do it like a try to like I'll make the title something thumbnaily. Like I'll say 10,000 calorie challenge, but really it wouldn't be a challenge. It would just be like I'm gonna eat a lot of food today and just like make a video out of it, just like because. But yeah, definitely in the 10,000 range, just about there. Not like 11, but like barely over 10. A lot come from carbs. Zation7345, what's your advice for someone who wants to get into lifting and content creation in his early stages of life, like high school? So, define content creation, because, how we would describe it with lifting is like, okay, I'm working out really hard and this is my thing, and I have like a journey I want to kind of document for myself, be able to go back and watch it, and I want to post it. There's content creators where they're like just stereotypical like Instagram like short form, like just gimmicky, like just like silly shit relatively, and that, that's fine too, whatever. But if your thing is like lifting and like you want to really work out, you want to be someone where like, dude, I started posting 3 years ago and I recorded my progress and shit, man, I've made a lot of progress in that time. Then your ratio of like effort from lifting to social media, I think should be very lifting centric. Like I think that having a camera involved distracts a lot of guys from actually focusing, because no longer do they care about their physical gains. All they give a shit about is like numbers and likes and comments. Obviously everybody who posts stuff is going to track their numbers, but the guy, if you get too caught up in what's going on the phone, like just think about it like this, and you're taking away your focus on the thing that you even want to show off, well, now what's the point, right? It's like an experiment where the results change once it's been not viewed. What am I thinking? Observed, So, yeah, I like to think that the effort ratio should be like 90% working out, 10% like make a video and post it and whatever. And that doesn't just include like the lift. That's everything outside the gym. You should still diet. You should still go hard, do your cardio, things that you don't post. Like I posted, I think the only cardio I've really posted was one time I recorded myself doing an hour of cardio, and I just posted it because it was kind of funny, like just a straight hour on the bike. But there's a lot that is just not, to be shown. So if that's your thing, like, okay, I want to I want to blow up, I want to get big, I want to get really lean, focus on the getting big and lean part. Focus on the gym part, and don't get distracted by this. This can really throw you off. I think I'm lucky that I've kept it like kind of simple, where I don't think that when I come in here and work out and like do a chest day, that it feels like I'm doing anything else other than the workout. Just in between sets, instead of sitting on my phone for another minute, I just pick up the tripod, put it somewhere else, and then sit back down and get ready for another set, if you kind of feel me. So just don't get distracted, is what my main point is. Zane Simmons, how many trophies do you have, and what's your deck in Clash Royale? So, that's a pretty decent question. So I just hit 10,000, and I just got like a 9-year milestone emblem. So it's taken a little while. Actually, 11,000, but the deck is right here. Oh, that's like mid-sneeze. But here's the deck. And for me, it works. Like for me, this works pretty well. I've tried swapping parts out, but this is good, right? Because the skeleton and the bomber kind of play in as like just, low health, like attack kind of cards. And if I mirror the healer, and then I have like the knight behind it, plus I can rage like any kind of mob spell, it's done pretty well. I wouldn't say it's the best, but I like it. So let me get back to what we're looking at. Yeah, so there you go. Gymnasium. Oh, that's kind of funny. What do you do for body hair? Are you just a naturally hairless dude? No, I'm just not the hairiest, and I can kind of confirm that by the fact that for the last bodybuilding shows I had to do, or not had to do, but got to do, You got to do a full body freaking shave. I'm talking like getting the little hairs that are on the back of your fingers and your arms, and it really is like a boost of your leanness. Like if I flexed my leg in the mirror right now and it had decent lighting, and then I shaved my leg and I looked at it, I looked again, it looked like a different picture. It looked like a different time because like any little hair you've got in your skin kind of blurs like the texture of the muscle underneath. So I can see why a lot of bodybuilders always shave their arms and legs because they want to see that definition. I only do it when the only time I've ever done it was just for those shows. But now that I know that it like makes you look extra lean, once I get dieted down a bit more this year or the end of this year, I'll probably start doing it just because it makes you look so much cooler. But no, yeah, definitely not totally hairless. I mean, I grow a mean stubble, but I'm still working on the full beard. I think that's going to take a long time. Bilson, Jim, will we ever see you peak for strength or performance? No, no, I really don't think so. I think I'm going to continue to peak for size, and that will correlate to extra strength and performance. But you're never going to see a 1 rep max of anything. It's just not going to happen. And I know, and it's not because like in my mind I'm like, oh, I know I shouldn't do it. Like I really want to do it, but I'm not gonna. Like I don't see the appeal for me at least because I know I'd probably hurt myself. I've hurt myself already doing weight that I can actually rep. So I don't see the appeal for me. I think that the 10 rep PR should have much more standing over a 1 rep. It never will because a 1 rep PR is like just as much as you can really do, so it's always cooler. But I still stand behind that 10 rep PR being the new baseline of strength. Sha does. Will you ever bring any niche characters into your gym to train? People you know to be dogs. They seem like they'd be cool to train with. Someone like Trell Bankston. So that's kind of an overarching question of like, am I going to bring some more guys to the gym? And yeah, it's kind of just like a scheduling thing, you know, because like you gotta know the guy, you gotta kind of like him. Then we gotta like schedule like, okay, you want to come over this weekend? I'll figure it out. But yeah, I want to get a lot more people in here for sure, especially now that the Arnold's coming up in March. So everybody's gonna literally all, or at least a good chunk of all the craziest fitness bodybuilder characters come straight to my backyard in Columbus. Yeah, I definitely want to see if some of them want to come in here and hit a lift. But yeah, no, there'll be some more people for sure. Zach D, when will we see a collab with the Trend Twins? That'll happen. That'll happen for sure. Same thing. Like it's just they were just in Rome and then they were in Berlin, but they're pretty cool. I've seen them a couple times. Like we always talk, or like whenever we're at an expo or like a bodybuilding show, or whatever. It'll happen for sure. We'll figure out a time. But yeah, I've never. Yeah, no, they're cool. E Goat, what do you think about VR gaming? Have you ever tried it? And if so, what was your experience? I think it's cool. VR gaming's pretty cool. It's been a while. During COVID, I got an Oculus, whichever one was, I think it was an Oculus Rift. But it wasn't like a super fancy one that you plug into your computer. Like it was just the regular like $300 one. And I got it used, and it smelled like the guy who used it before. Like I switched like it must have smelled like his house, like not like cigarettes, but the body of it, like when you put this thing in your head, it's like all cotton or like text. So it kind of threw me off. It should have got a new one. But I used to play a bunch of Beat Saber, and the one where like time would slow down if you move slow, and then like you were shooting the like kind of geometrical looking dudes. It's cool, but since I haven't done it for so long, I'm sure it'd be a little disorienting. But yeah, VR is pretty cool. I think it's that compared to like whatever the fanciest VR headset is right now is probably like night and day. Nuts. And it'll just keep getting crazier from now on, you know, whether that's a good or a bad thing. Dexter Get Trick. Dexter Get Trick. If you can make it so doing one specific annoying gym habit resulted in certain death, what would it be? Uh, I don't know. I don't think anybody does anything in the gym that's worth being killed for. You might think about it in the time. I just got hit with one that was pretty bad. I come in and the bathroom it had a line already. Somebody was in there and then somebody was waiting. So I give the guy a look. I'm like, and then he hits me with it. So, I warm up a little bit. I come back. I'm headed to the bathroom. He's in there now. He's coming out. And he was about to, I presume. And I'm like, nice. Perfect timing. And then guy number 3, third parties the situation and gets in before I could walk over. That kind of that hits you, because you never want to have to wait for the bathroom if you're really lifting, because it's just going to throw you off, especially if it's like a leg day. I said a while ago, I made like a point where I was like, I've never left the gym or I've never cut a lift early. And then I was reading some of the comments, and it made me remember something that I think I wanted to forget. I think I've had like 2 leg days where I finished the first half, and then the second half, the momentum of the workout got killed. I don't remember what I ate, but my insides were just totally like tumbling, turning around. Like hamstrings was good, quads was good. I'm like, it got halfway through quads, but nature calls in that sense for sure. But yeah, I don't think. I think the one specific thing that I'd have to think of would be someone who skips the gym. So rather than an inact, if you kind of feel me there. But even then, that's a stretch. I don't think there's a real answer to that question. Lewis.222, best lean bulk foods while on a budget. So if you're really strapping in the sense of like, okay, I want to do the numbers of this diet. I did this when I was in school. I'd look at the PPG, price per gram. So that'd be price per gram of, really protein was one I was most concerned about. So I'm looking at protein powder and I'm like, okay, this is 5 cents per gram. And ground beef was like 8, whatever that number was. So I guess what I'm saying is, look at the nutrition label of whatever food you're eating. Not to, like, obviously you're going to be better off going to like a Costco. Maybe somebody with a membership card, you go with them and get it where it's just baseline cheapest anyway. But a second level above that is, okay, tilapia is 2 cents per gram of protein right here. I guess I'm eating tilapia for a while if I really want to get the most effective price per gram of protein of whatever's around. But it's pretty balanced. I remember I kind of ended up coming to the conclusion that it was like 4 cents for ground beef and like 5 for, I don't even remember the exacts. But just, and then you have to know how much food you're going to eat anyway. Are you dieting? Maybe you don't have to be so picky about your carbs because you're not eating a ton of carbs anyway. If you're really bulking up, well then, get some boxes of jasmine rice or like just Idaho potatoes, like stuff like that. And, the simpler the meal plan, the more price effective. But any specific foods, you just kind of have to see. MAF, thoughts on the rise of main gaining and bulking being vaulted. So I don't know what vaulted means. Like I can infer, like, does that mean vaulted is like it's now considered bad, or is it vaulted like it's been vaulted forward, like it's good now? This is like TikTok influencer lifter jargon. I've never heard anyone else say vaulted in my life. But it's. I think you probably think that cartoons now are really fucking weird, but when you were younger, you thought they were the shit. So I think it's the same thing as working out. An old guy is going to look at a younger dude and think, "What the hell is this guy doing?" And it's just always going to be like that. So I don't think we all have to be on the same page about everything. I think everybody can agree that you should go hard, you should hit your protein, you should get bigger and stronger. And if you're not getting bigger and stronger, then something here is wrong. And then just keep going. So anything outside of that will kind of correct itself. Like if someone really had the wrong idea about training and then they ran with their wrong idea for long enough, eventually they might say, oh shit, I think I might have been wrong. and then go back to what they think could really work. I'm not to say that being gaining or bulking is bad. I mean, personally, I've got a lot of success from bulking, but I'm not gonna like that's not as though I'm saying you have to do it. I did say that a while ago. I said it was the first video ever, and I get held to it very strongly, which whatever. But I'm in the car and I'm like, all right, 2023, it's the year of the 200 pounder. If you're under 200 pounds, then you got to start a bulk. But I did not say that you had to get to 200 pounds in one bulk. So if I could go back and add an asterisk of 200 pounds in a gym context doesn't count really if it's like you're 150 pounds of muscle and the 50 pounds are what, if you kind of catch my drift there. But no, it's everybody always thinks new stuff and just adds to the overall like dialogue of the gym and like different fitness guys posting stuff. I mean, that's the whole point, right? We're not here to anybody who should say someone shouldn't be saying something. If they couldn't back it up with their own argument, well then what are they trying to do? But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I like and a lot of stuff I don't like, but whatever. It's just how it is. Oh, come on. All right, well, I guess you get two because I already scrolled to it. Executive Onion, would you rather have hands for feet or feet for hands? Well, that's pretty obvious. I'd rather have hands for feet. Why would I lose? In what world would I rather have feet for hands instead of hands for feet? I bet I could have hands for feet right now and you wouldn't even notice because I always have shoes on. Hands for feet all the way. That's not even a question. I might go back and edit that out because that's not even a real freaking question. Will you make the gym accessible or public at all? Accessible to public at all? Not this one in this space. Just because for one, this isn't like a public parking like facility. But eventually, I think so. Because I mean, I'm not going to need this own private gym like forever. I think it'd be cool in the future to get like a spot in a city, or like I always like gyms that are right in town, like off of the main street with all the regular businesses, and then oh shit, that's a gym. So the equipment side is already checked off. You just have to find a place to put it that's kind of cool, and then get some members and see what happens. But that'll be for kind of the further future. That's a distant plan, but I think that'd be pretty cool. And then what do I call it? Sulig Gym, or do I just call it a totally random gym name? That's for future me to figure out if that's what ends up going on. Joe Gunther, 101. What has been a defining moment in your career or life? I think the Arnold Amateur was pretty defining. Just in the, because that was after, like, maybe not as much like for me personally, but just from like outside perspective, because that whole time I was doing a prep, there's at least a chunk of people that were like, well, he's not really going to compete. He's not really going to do it. But in terms of like my actual life, like what I think of as like a turning point, this is a while ago. Like this is back when I was in school. This is back in college. So I wasn't like semi-recent, but I remember I got into a bunch of like stoic, like self-motivational kind of videos. And it wasn't like I watched one video and I thought, oh my God, holy crap, I can see the Matrix. Like nothing as blatant as that. But just like the idea of being a little, not tougher, but just like more sensitive with like what you think about, like self-reflecting, like, okay, why am I thinking like this? What am I doing? Like, what are my goals? Why am I not going after my goals? Like just that kind of just a boost to like my inner dialogue. And I think that's pretty important for anybody because I want to be able to like treat my life and like the things around me as though I have an effect on them, as though I am in at least a, not total control, of course, but like I have an effect. I can change how things are for me if I, can work at it rather than just be subject to your surroundings. Like you want to be able to make some shit happen because you want to do it. That's sort of just like stuff. And like another main point about any kind of like this is like Marcus Aurelius style. Like I've never read any of those like books or anything, but just like the idea is focus and put energy onto the things that you really value That's right here. And don't make a fuss about random crazy shit that doesn't even matter and that has no real bearings on like your own enjoyment and fulfillment, you know. And that's basic. You would think focus on your own business. Like it's basically just saying mind your business, but to like a slightly higher degree, you know. But I think people who think like that they're a little not cooler, but they know what they care about. They put effort into what they care about, and things that isn't in that bubble. Well, that's the outside world, right? That's beyond my control. Don't even sweat about it. So it's just like a focusing of your energy on the things you really want to do. I don't think about that all the time, but sometimes if I see like a motivational video quote, I'll get back into it. But I think that's a good way to think about things. And then that correlated with starting, what turned into all this. So whether that was just coincidence or not, I can't say for sure. But that was definitely a good change of my like inner thought process, if you follow me. Let me see. Gilo Paulo, I already answered that one. Could you ever see yourself transitioning away from bodybuilding, hypertrophy focused workouts into an athletic functional workout, like what C-Bum's doing now? Maybe in the future. Not right now. Definitely not right now. Like I'm gonna be lifting how I'm lifting. I'm gonna make adjustments, but there's not gonna be a paradigm shift for quite a while. That'd be distant future. What's the meaning of life? Asks Taylor Murray. I don't think I'm the guy to answer that, but I think if I could, from what I've heard or like other answers to that question that I like, it's I guess it's almost that there is no given meaning and that you kind of discover that on your own, right? Like what if what if in my mind I was legitimately obsessed, in love, like passionate about baking? Like maybe my end goal is to get like a professional bakery with 17 different ovens and like put it in France. Maybe I'd say that the meaning of life is to bake. That's not an answer for everyone else, but to me, that's the most important thing in the world. So I think that's how it is, right? Everybody kind of gets their own version of things because they get their own situation and their own circumstances and upbringing. So the question is not to me what's the meaning of life. The question would then be for you, right? Not what's the meaning, but what's your meaning. I think that's a good way to look at that. And don't fret about it too much. You don't have to. I don't think you have to know the answer. You never have to know it. Hopefully you figure it out, but it's not something to lose sleep over, I wouldn't think. And that's the end of it. So plan now. Go home, splice this together. I may or may not have put all of these questions up here in like kind of a green screen fashion. I probably didn't. I'm leaving. I'm going to turn this camera off and like say I'm going to do it, but I probably didn't. I don't know. But either way, I'll end up coming back in here for chest, and I'll see. I reorganized a bunch of equipment, and I kind of like how I did it, but I think I want to move it around a little more. But it's not a one-man job. Like this stuff is freaking like it's dangerous to move some of these machines because the racks are so heavy. Like if I picked up a leg extension or curl and then I flipped it the wrong way, I mean, shit, I don't have a life alert around my neck. But maybe I'll grab somebody later and come in and do a little reorganizing, something like that. But yeah, the diet continues. The diet continues for sure. And in 2 months from now, I'm already freakier than 2 months ago, but in 2 months from now, it'll be even wilder. But, it's a slow, steady kind of deal. So I'll bust one more of these out. I'm gonna do a grocery trip later, so there will be a grocery trip video probably tomorrow, and I got to do a full day of eating as well. But there's just not a ton of eating. It's like I'd get some ground beef out, but I'll do one too. That's on the list for the next couple of days. I know I've kind of been depriving you, but yeah, all done. So I'll see you for either the grocery trip or chest day tomorrow. I think I'll just do a double upload and post them both. So I'll see you then.